Okay, it's time for video number 12. Go ahead and take out your geo books and let's get started. Okay, for this video we only have one vocabulary word, and that is quadrilateral. And look at this. Boom! How cool is this? Boom, 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 boom. Okay, that's it. Alright, so the vocabulary word is quadrilateral. And the definition for quadrilateral is a shape a shape with four straight sides and with interior angles adding up to 360 degrees. So we have a bunch of quadrilaterals right here, examples of quadrilaterals, and it's just any shape that has four sides, and they have to be straight sides. Notice that there aren't any curves in this picture because they all have to be straight. And the second part of the definition says that the interior angles add up to 360. So for all of these examples here, the interior angles, so the inside angles, they have to add up to 360 degrees. No matter what shape you're talking about, if it is a quadrilateral, all the angles have to add up to 360 degrees. Okay, go ahead and stop the video and write down your notes. Okay, go ahead and go to your notes section of your geobook. We have our first example here. And this example, we have to solve for x. And we first have to figure out what property we're going to use to solve for x. In this case, we can see that this is a rectangle. And the way I know that is because I have four angles here that are 90 degrees. And I know it's not a square because a square would have all equal sides. And you can clearly see that all of these sides are not equal. Now, because of this, I can say that this is a rectangle. I'm giving that all of the angles are 90 degrees, and you can see that two of these sides are congruent to each other and two of the other sides are congruent to each other. Now, what property should I use? You have to look at the information that is given to me in order to decide what property I'm going to use. So if you look at the picture, they give you two sides. They give you the side up here, which is 5x plus 6, and then the side down here, which is 2x plus 12. So you have to use a property that talks about sides of a rectangle. And there is a property that we wrote in our foldable that says that opposite sides are congruent to each other. So this top side is congruent to this bottom side, and the right side is congruent to the left side. So that's why we're able to use that property to set up your equation. So if I have two things that are equal to each other, what we do is we pretty much just put an equal sign in between them. We set them equal to each other. And to do that, we write the following: 5x plus 6, which is this side over here, equals the bottom side over here. And again, we can do this because the property says that opposite sides are congruent, and another word for congruent is equal. Okay, now that we have our equation, we can solve for x, and I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides, and I get 3x plus 6 equals 12 minus 6 from both sides, and I get 3x equals 6. And when we divide by 3 on both sides, we get that x is equal to 2. So that would be my final answer. Go ahead and pause the video and write down your notes. Our second example is of a parallelogram. For this example, we have to find the measurement of angle W. And again, in order to know which property we're going to use, we have to look at our picture. In this case, they give us two angles, and they give us the angles that are opposite to each other. One is here on the top left, one is here on the bottom right. They're opposite to each other. So the property that talks about opposite angles is opposite angles of a parallelogram are congruent. So if we know that they're congruent to each other, we can equal them to each other. This one is equal to this one over here. Angle W is congruent to angle U. So to set up the equation, we put 21x minus 4 is equal to 20x. Okay, to solve for x, we're going to subtract 21x from both sides. And we get negative 4 equals negative 1x. If we divide by negative 1, we get that x is equal to 4. Now, I'm not done though. I did box that answer, but I'm not completely done because they asked me to solve for the measurement of angle W. So now that I have this part of my answer, I have to go back and plug it in to my angle W, which is 21x minus 4. So I'm going to rewrite angle W. So angle W is equal to 21x minus 4, and instead of writing an x, I'm going to write a 4 and substitute my x for 4, and I get 84 minus 4, and 84 minus 4 is just 80. So the measurement of angle W is equal to 80 degrees. So go ahead and pause the video and write the notes down in your geobook. Okay, our last example is about a rhombus. And for this example, we have to find the measurement of angle A. And they give us two angles here. Now, notice that they're not opposite angles. They're angles that are next to each other. So both of them are on the top of the rhombus, which helps us determine what property we're going to use. Okay, so this property that we're going to use is a property that states that consecutive angles are supplementary. And remember, supplementary means that you have two angles that add up to 180 degrees. So these two angles are consecutive angles. And another example of consecutive angles would be angles A and D, also angles B and C, D and C, and our example here A and B. So all of those are examples of consecutive angles, and the way I remember consecutive angles is pretty much just those two angles that are on the same side of your shape. So like A and B, they're on the top, and B and C are on the right side. D and C are on the bottom, and then A and D are on the left. So that's one way I remember them, that they just have to be on the same side of the rhombus. Okay, so to set up the equation, like we said, consecutive angles of a rhombus add up to 180. So we're going to write 20x plus 16x equals 180 degrees. Okay, let's go ahead and combine like terms. So we have a 20x plus 16x, which is 36x, and that is equal to 180 degrees. Divide both sides by 36, and we get that x is equal to 5. Now, like I said, we're not done because we still have to find the measurement of angle A. So we're going to take angle A, which is 20x, and we're going to plug in our 5, and we get that 20 times 5 is 100 degrees. So measurement of angle A is 100 degrees, which means that angle B would have to be 80 degrees, right? Because they have to add up to 180. Now let's just go ahead and I'm going to do that on the side. Let's just go ahead and check. So measurement of angle B is equal to 16x. If we plug in 5, 16 times 5, and you put that in the calculator, we can clearly see that that is equal to 80 degrees, which is what we should get if we're following the properties. So go ahead and stop the video and write down your notes.